Thanks for staying with us right here on Sunrise as we continue this morning. Now, winter season is often associated with fires, especially in informal settlements. Unsafe use of heating appliances like paraffin stoves, candles, heaters, imbaula are some of the causes of the fires in those areas. Now, this morning, we take a look at the safety tips when dealing with fires and also how to prevent them. To talk more about that, we are now joined in studio by spokesperson of the Johannesburg Emergency Management Services, Mulaudzi. Remember, you can be part of our conversation by giving us a call on 011-447-1742 or 011-447-1620. That is the number. We'll take your comments as well on our Facebook as well as Twitter. Good morning to you, Mr. Mulaudzi, and thanks for joining us.
Machoroni Penny and Machorona to the viewers out there.
Thank you for joining us this morning. So now, as we get into winter, every year your department has to deal with a lot of fires, especially in informal settlements that I've already mentioned. What are some of the causes of these fires?
The most common causes of these fires are, unsafe use of candles which are used on, maybe cold drink or beer bottle as a candle holder. The others are, paraffin stoves which are not regulated. Most of these stoves explode while they are in use. And then also you find out that there's issues of illegal connection and also the use of imbaula. You find out that people are still, going to bed with it, and then they inhale those toxic smokes coming from imbaula. And then we normally attend to those. Those will be the common causes of those fires, mostly in our informal settlements.
What sort of engagements do you get into with the communities, maybe prior to the winter season, to sort of educate and empower the communities?
Yeah, within the city of Johannesburg EMS, we've got a section, we call it a PEER, which is Public Education, Information and Relations, which is responsible for making sure that we educate our communities about life and fire safety education issues. For instance, the safe use of paraffin stoves. So these programs are designed mostly for ECD, Early Childhood Development Centers, your preschools, nursery schools, and then of course we've got other programs which are specially designed for high schools and also your communities. So each and every area within our, the residents within the city, they've got their specific programs which we teach them about, fire safety in general, how they can be able to, what is it that they can do when there's an emergency out there.
Okay, so let's talk about that fire safety in general. So in informal settlement or in any home actually, whether you're using candles, electricity or gas, what are some of the things that you need to have around the house that can sort of help in a case of an emergency?
Okay, first thing, you need to have this. Of course, you're not going to have a bucket like this, which is branded like mine, but just a 20-25 liter bucket of water at home. Because most of the people in the informal settlements, they don't have a water supply. So when there's an emergency, they will struggle to extinguish the fire.
Water, yeah.
Right. And then you try and make sure that all the things, for instance, paraffin at home, you need to make sure that you are storing it in a safe container like this one, which maybe a young child cannot be able to, use a drink that paraffin. And then the most important thing you can do without even spending money, for instance, to use a candle safely, you can do it like this.
Okay.
You see our candlelit breakfast we're having here.
Yeah.
So we've realized that if you're using a candle in a cold drink bottle, if it accidentally falls while you're using it, it might catch a curtain or whatever, any other clothing around the room, and then you might have fire incident there. So what you do is just take your old peanut butter mayonnaise bottle, and then you just fill it 3/4 of that with sand, as I did here. So your candle will be longer, so you'll cut it into halves. So you make sure that the candle is inside this jar. So here, what happens is, as soon as the candle, the candle burns, it reaches where the sand is, it automatically extinguishes itself, and then you're not going to have a fire incident around the room.
Okay, so is the soil a sort of a safety mechanism of some
Exactly.
sort?
And also, you also save money because there's issues. When you go to these communities, they'll tell you, no, we cannot afford and things like that. So the candle here will take much more longer than when it's being blown, the wind is blowing. It gets finished quite quicker than when you're using it on this jar. And also this jar, it actually makes the room much more brighter because of this glass. Yeah.
Okay. So now, it's also very romantic, some would say.
Exactly. Yeah,
okay.
I am.
But, so let's talk about just sort of like the education. You spoke about education programs in informal settlements,
yes,
in schools as well as in high schools. But do you think generally we are sort of like informed enough about what are the basic things to do if there's a fire? And then the reason I'm asking, a friend of mine recently, a gas exploded, in their house, and it exploded in their bedroom. And I was asking, didn't they have a fire extinguisher in the house? What kind of fire extinguisher they're supposed to have? And we didn't seem to know what were the basic safety things that they're supposed to have in the house.
Okay. These are some of the things you can have. This is just a kit in the kitchen. As you see, you've got a kitchen here.
Okay.
If you're cooking, so this will help you to treat like burns at home, minor burns, over and above the issue where you cool it for about 20 with cold water from the tap. So you can use this as a first aid treatment to that burn. So you can also have this in case of an emergency to alert you to evacuate the room. So you will have this, we call it a smoke alarm or smoke detector. So what happens is it will actually gives you an alarm if there's a fire in the room. It will give you this alarm. Even if you have a very nice weekend, you will be able to wake up and evacuate the room. So you can also, if you can be able to afford, you can also have a fire extinguisher, but in most of the cases you find that people, they don't have that. So that is the reason why we're saying in the informal settlements, we advise them to always have that bucket of water. Yeah, because we have trained them to form up that chain when if there's a fire next door, they can be able to form up that chain and be able to exchange those buckets of water to extinguish the fire. And then also in school, what we have done is now we've got a program where we're focusing on young people at school, because we believe that they will be responsible adults, because most of the adults now, they don't even know the emergency number to call. So what we're doing is we're focusing on the young people from the nursery schools and also from high schools to make sure that when they're at schools, if there's an emergency at schools, they can be able to deal with some of the those emergencies. They can be able to assist to evacuate other learners from the school. And also, we're also assisting schools to comply with the emergency services bylaws. So those are some of the programs we do. And then also for the communities, these buckets, the Joe safety kits, we're not just going out there and handing them over to communities without any training. So what we do is we firstly train them on basic firefighting, basic first aid. The reason why we're doing that, we are creating communities which are capable of dealing with emergencies which might occur in the area before us as emergency services arrive on scene. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, we had sort of like the big recent fires in Knysna, and,
yes,
and the whole country was sort of like watching, trying to learn how we can sort of like deal with situations like, obviously that was different because it was wildfires and all of that.
Yes.
But what are the key learnings in a situation where in a big informal settlement or a big community, a fire just breaks out? What are the basic things that people can do to sort of like help or keep themselves safe? Yeah,
for in the informal settlement, what we do is we try and make sure that at least they know exactly what to do. Firstly, is to make sure that they evacuate the area. If they've got skills, that is the reason why we invite them to visit our regional Be Safe centers, which are based throughout all the 7 regions of the city, where they can be able to get some kind of training or idea as to what is it that they can do when there's an emergency. For instance, they will know the number to call. If they are trained, they will know exactly how to use a bucket of water to extinguish the fire. They'll understand at least the basics. We're not saying that they are firefighters, but they will know exactly at least the basic things they can do to be able to save the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.